right, just to honor the people that are here on time, thank you so much for everyone for taking the time to be here today, and welcome to the launch of Circular South Africa's short course, Building a Just and Regenerative Future. Today's webinar is really a first look at our course and the ideas behind it. So please come in, as you're coming in, please introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're from. We really want to hear from you. And like I said, um, this is really looking at this webinar is really focused on looking at our course and the ideas behind it. And I'm not alone. I'm joined by Marie de Wit, who is part of the Circular South Africa team, also part of the ASIN team, Africa Circular Economy Network. She is a circular economy consultant, educator, and a systems thinker. And part of the systems thinking was used in creating this course. And then I'm also joined by Katarina Gehring, who is the Chief Environmental Officer of ASIN and the project lead from Circular South Africa. And myself, my name is Mark Lamani. I'm the Community Engagement Manager for Circular South Africa and also an entrepreneur in the circular economy space. And for today, we have a jam-packed program where we're going to be looking at why are you choosing the circular economy? Why is the circular economy important? Why do we need it? And also there's a nice interactive game of the R strategy. So you guys, I really need you guys to listen and be interact with us like you are in the chat right now, and I'm loving it. And then we're also looking at the opportunities in the circular economy and the course overview and the costs. I'm sure everybody's interested about that. And at the end, we'll have a short Q&A. And for those who are joining us for the first time and haven't been part of a circular economy event, thank you so much for making the time to be here with us today. So Circular South Africa is a national platform designed to connect organizations, initiatives, and practitioners working to advance the circular economy in South Africa. And we do this guided by the three strategic pillars of knowledge sharing and capacitation, facilitating partnerships and collaboration, scaling the circular economy. And today's session is really focusing on pillar one, where we knowledge sharing and capacitation. And to go into depth with this, I'll hand over to Katarina again.
Thanks so much, Mark. It's lovely to be here with everyone. I am having a bit of issues with my MS Teams. It seems to automatically unshare, so please bear with me. It seems to have developed a life on its own, unfortunately. Yeah. So I hope it's okay. But yeah, Mark, just let me know if the unsharing is keep on happening, because it does it automatically. But in any case, it's really lovely to have you all online with us, and I'm just going to take you through a few background information and why we actually came up with the course. As you know, Circular South Africa, or those of you who don't know us, we have initiated a platform in 2023 based on an scoping study that South Africa really does need a platform. And if you also go on our website, we're sharing quite a lot of events, so not just only Circular South Africa events, but lunch clubs, webinars, as well as knowledge pieces. And you can also sign up as a member and contribute to the platform yourself. So, but why do we need a circular economy? Well, South Africa is an extractive-based economy, and that has led to resource depletion, social inequality, and environmental degradation. I mean, this is not just applicable to South Africa as a country. We believe that the circular economy offers really one of the most powerful pathways to address South Africa's urgent challenges, and that is most likely or mostly framed as inequality, unemployment, and environmental degradation. So we really truly believe that the circular economy can create a holistic economy that is not only tackling environmental challenges, but does need to be inclusive and just at the root. You might have seen a lot of these slides before, but we need to shift from the linear to a circular economy. So we know at the moment we are extracting our resources. A lot is not even processed in the African continent. So some manufacturing might happen. Some of it might happen also, or is happening in South Africa. And then we obviously consume goods and then we get rid of them, right? So that's a very linear system. So the materials flow very one-sided through the system, but we don't really close the loops at the moment. And unfortunately, we only have one planet to live off. So we can't recreate these resources. So we need to really make sure that we use them in a very smart way, but also to strengthen the local economies and the resilience of African countries. So the circular economy provides South Africa with really a regenerative alternative to the economy that we currently have in place. And as you might have seen as well globally, and also with the Adam MacArthur Foundation and other key think tanks that are out there and they're speaking about the circular economy, there are three major principles around the circular economy. So the one is designing out waste and pollution, keeping materials at their highest value as long as possible, and regenerating nature. And we are always adding a fourth principle, which is around benefiting all members of society. So we really need to make sure that there is a human sphere element to it, because we don't want a circular economy that then just reinforces inequalities based on a linear economy. So the opportunity of circular thinking is really around unlocking value across the value chains, building resilient businesses that can obviously work or use the resources that are also locally present, regenerate nature, especially in the context of Africa. We have quite a lot of countries that have a rich and vast biodiversity presence, and also obviously natural resources. And then uplift people. I always think there are so many creative and insightful skills that actually the continent has. So it's not just the natural resources that we have, but also all the humans that we have on this continent that are truly creative and innovative, and can actually take part in that shift to a circular economy. So we do need a complete mindset shift. As I said, we are very much locked into a linear economy. And I think that's sometimes hard to then see the connections between the different sectors, but everything is really connected, right? So if you think about the agriculture sector, I think that's the easiest sector to look at all the different connections, as water is obviously linked to the agriculture sector, but then also the runoffs that are coming from the agriculture sectors in fact like pesticides, as well as the waste that is generated along the cold chain, if there is a cold chain in place on the agriculture sector. But then obviously there's energy that is also required for these sectors. So in South Africa, the challenges of inequality and unemployment really requires systems thinking. And obviously we need to also make sure our environment is protected, conserved, and regenerated so that we can actually also thrive as societies. It's quite clear, I think, to all of us that air quality, water quality, but also just well-being is really, really dependent on an intact ecosystem. So we need to understand the root causes and address these instead of just addressing the symptoms and putting a plaster over that. Circular economy from concept to practice. I think this is why you are here. So this is always like a really tricky one, because circular economy sounds really easy, right? It has a few principles. There are obviously quite a few definitions out there globally, but to then implement it is rather tricky. And this is what we're going to also address in this course by also focusing on circular economy businesses and business models that really enable the implementation of circular principles. So in the course, we are looking at tools and methodologies so that you also understand how you can actually apply or think about a life cycle assessment. We're not going to train you on a life cycle assessment because that's a whole other course on your own, but just to give you the understanding of what these tools and the methodologies entails. We are also going to speak about systems thinking and obviously technology support that is needed for the transition as well. So circular economy for businesses and entrepreneurs, why this matters, and this matters for you, is I think very key, and I've spoken already around creating resilience and shock resistant supply chains, but it's also speaking about creating new revenue models, making sure you use your resources efficiently and actually save costs. So if you use less water, less energy, you obviously do save cost. There is innovation opportunities and potentially new markets you can explore, and you reduce your environmental impacts and regenerate nature. And obviously, hopefully, you're contributing back to society as well by implementing your business. The reality of implementation, well, we know the drivers is like we have resource scarcity that we are facing, and you have economic recovery and job creation that we want to address. And then there is policy momentum, but I would also say there is a lot happening geopolitically right now, and that's why we need resilience and competitiveness as the different countries try to also grow and develop their manufacturing sectors, but also their economies, to make sure that we can all have a decent life as well. Barriers at the moment that we see very strongly is high upfront costs. A lot of entrepreneurs and businesses struggle with that, to actually access the financing for their circular economy business models, because banks are innately risk adverse, right? They don't want to invest in a business where they think we don't get our return of investment back. So again, that's something that really needs to be tackled. There is a massive skills and knowledge gap as well of what circular economy actually is, and this is what we are really tackling in this course. There's also infrastructure limitations. Again, agriculture is quite easy to explain. It's the cold value chains, but if you just look at roads and potholes and not having a road railway infrastructure in place that can actually transport goods quite easily from A to B, it's quite interesting to look at how agricultural goods that are being transported over road receive more damage because the roads might be not well in place. That means most of or some of the produce actually has to be chucked away before it even reaches consumption stage. And then on the enablers, and I think this is what we are really trying to focus on in this course, is making sure that we speak about the positive sides. Yes, there's lots of things that we need to tackle globally, but what can we actually do? And enablers is really around building the collaboration and the partnership and the ecosystem that you also need to thrive in a circular economy. We speak about the circular business models that are out there and also show you case studies so that you can relate to it. And it's always good to dive into the case studies. So we have collected more than 270 case studies that are all accessible on our website as well, because you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but you can actually connect with like-minded people out there that have already solved maybe issues that you have. And then we're also speaking about technology and innovation, a little bit about AI and data accessibility and why this is also quite important. So there are various challenges, opportunities and realities of circular implementation in South Africa, but the question is really, how are we going to actually address this and build these skills to apply the ideas? So, and this is why we created the course. CSA has, as I said, has been going for quite a while, but ASIN has been going for almost 10 years, and we constantly get asked questions. Our webinars are quite well visited, but really making sure that this training and this knowledge is actually accessible also in a digestible format. So there is a lack of practical circular economy education in South Africa. At the moment, there is also confusion around what circular economy means. A lot is still unfortunately thought of as recycling or a more efficient way of waste management, but it's not. It's a very holistic way of implementing and thinking about your business and the collaboration system that you're creating around that. And then there is a need for practical application in business, but also policy to create that enabling environment and the innovation that is needed, because sometimes maybe a product or a solution hasn't been yet created, but it's good to know where you can actually leverage research councils for these types of innovations. So we developed this course to bridge the knowledge and skills gap, making the circular economy clear, practical, and locally relevant. And we aim to empower the stakeholders with the tool and the confidence to identify circular economy opportunities. But I think also to really understand systems thinking, because you need to train that so that you can identify these opportunities, create inclusive solutions so that you look at all the impacts that you're having. So we all have impact, doesn't matter what we are doing. Unfortunately, we do have our impact. So we need to think about this holistically so that you have the least negative impacts and the most positive impacts. And then contribute to a just and regenerative future for South Africa, because obviously we want to have people that are as excited as we are about the circular economy out there. So we believe the circular economy offers one of the most powerful pathways to tackle South Africa's urgent challenges, as I said before. And there it's really around clarity and application. So what circular economy means, we go quite in detail through that in the course. And again, we are linking this always back to case studies to give you that practical example. We're speaking about the local relevance to the South African market at the moment, and also the future readiness. So there is really a growing demand that we see from employers, investors, and policymakers for skills around sustainability, but also circular innovation. And what we can see now as well with European legislation that are pushing more and more circular economy principles or integration of principles in their legislation, it will have an impact also of people, on businesses that are actually exporting to the European market. So I think these things are quite important when we're looking at a global interconnected world as well. Perfect. This is kind of my part of the presentation. Thank you very much for listening to me. But now we're getting into an even more exciting part. And this is by Mark. So he's going to actually take you through a little bit of a strategy R game with the team. So Mark, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Katarina. And Katarina touched on circular economy being misunderstood as recycling. And we all know about the three R's that are there: reduce, reuse, and recycle. But did you know that actually circular economy has more than that? There's 10 R's. And if you look in the diagram of the R ladder, is that recycling is number 9, right at the bottom there of the R strategy. So this diagram is actually called the R strategy, but we call it the R ladder. But I really prefer the word strategy because it's actually a metric of how circular you can become. And this ladder is actually based on, it's listed in order of priority for the circular economy. So as you can see here, the first one is refuse, and it's all grouped. There's 3 certain groups in there, and each group. So the first group really speaks to how you could use less resources from the start. So it says refuse. So this is preventing raw material use. Use reusable cups instead of having to use raw materials all the time. Reduce raw material use. That's part of reduce. And this is saying instead of putting packaging and everything, just leave products without packaging, the ones that don't need it. Redesign. This is really speaking about producing products using circular principles, which is designing out waste, that Katarina mentioned earlier, designing out waste, keeping materials at their highest value, regenerate natural systems, and the one that we believe in is benefiting all members of societies. And this really speaks of having smart product use and manufacturing from the design concept of your product. The second group there that we see, it's really keeping products in circulation. So here we're looking at reuse. So reusing products again, repairing, maintaining, and repairing products instead of getting rid of products, to put them in a process of repairing and reuse them again. Refurbishing talks about reviving products to their former state. So actually having, it's even for businesses, you can even add this as a component to your business, or it can even be a revenue generation where you partner with someone that can help you refurbish your product to put it into this former state that it was before. Remanufacturing, this speaks to creating new products from secondhand products on the components of the actual product that you have. And then the last one in this group is repurpose. So this is reusing products with a new function. So this really speaks to how you can have useful application of materials instead of getting rid of materials in the process of your business or your manufacturing. And then the last one is the old famous recycle. And you see this is right at the bottom. Number 9, this is salvage materials streamlines with the highest value. And it also incinerate waste for energy recovery. And this is at this is really to extend the life expansion of products and its parts. So this is something we ought to try to avoid in the circular economy, but it's something that is inevitable from where we are as South Africa and the amount of waste that we have. But I hope you guys really got the gist of this R ladder, because now, as Katarina said, we're going into an interactive session where it's going to be the R strategy game. So I see there's a thumb up there. There's a thumbs up. I hope you guys saw that. So that's someone, and I saw there was a lot of familiar names. Thank you so much. So I know there's people that know these. And so this game, how it's going to work is that there are the strategies on the side there, and I'll be asking the question, a statement. I'll be reading out a statement, and then you'll give me the answer, and then everyone, you just have to write the actual strategy on the side. So if I say, when waste is burned to generate energy for power station, you are right to reduce, reuse, recover, refurbish. That's all you need to do. So in 15 seconds, and the winner will get, no, I'm just kidding. The winner's not going to get anything. The winner will get bragging rights of being the smartest person in the room. So yes, so let's get the game started. So after every question, I'll give you 15 seconds just to give an answer, and we'll move on to the next one. And if it's a tough one, I'll give a little explanation of why it is that actual strategy. So the first one will go when waste is burned to generate energy for power plants, then you. So please just write one word. What do you think the strategy is? Whoa, I see some smart people in the room. There's a bit of cheating here. Guys, everyone, people, there's some smart people in the room. Yeah, this is brilliant. Hold on. So let me not waste any time. This is actually the answer is correct, as most people said, recover. And this is recover because it's extracting energy from waste that can't be reused or recycled. So well done to everyone that wrote recover. And I'll move swiftly to the second one. It says, when your washing machine stops working and you fix the broken part, then you. It's going to be tricky because there's different answers coming in, but I see people are getting it. Hey, it's nice to see different answers. I think the answer is beautiful. The most thing you got. Well done for knowing your art ladder, guys. Well done. Then I'll move over to the third one because a lot of people understood that one. So well done. So the third one is when plastic bottles are processed into pellets and used to make new plastic products, then you. This is coming in. Someone said you're recycling. Recycling. Remanufacturing. I love it. I love all these answers. And the answer is recycling. Beautiful. For everyone that said recycling, you are right because the process of this is processing of materials into raw materials that can be used to make new products. That is recycled. Well done to everyone that said recycling. And then number four is that when a company collects used industrial printers, disassemble them, replace major components, and rebuild them so that they can perform like a new machine. Then you saw this answer in the last one. A couple of people said this for the last one. It's always good to have different answers, guys. I know I said the winner, the person that gets all right will get bragging rights, but good thing we won't know who they are. So don't be shy. Repurpose, remanufacture, refurbish. It's so good to get different answers. And the answer is remanufacturing. And the reason why this is remanufacturing is because you're rebuilding a product using parts from an old product to meet the original specifications. So you're taking it back to where it used to be. So it's remanufacturing. So then the next one is when
I'm sorry,
people.
Mark. I
Yes,
just want to quickly jump in here. I think a
yes,
lot
yes,
of
yes, John.
people struggled with remanufacturing. I think the recycling, there were a lot of remanufacturing coming from the recycling one.
Yes,
And I
yes,
think just to remember, like this example of remanufacturing, that there's still components that can be used in different printers or different applications, where, for example, a plastic bottle is grinded down into pellets and then its bottles is made again. So it's not necessarily components being used in a different application. So recycling is the last option. For example, if a component really can't be used anymore and you can't use it again, that will then be broken into its different materials, and that will then be recycled. So just to get that definition right.
Beautiful. There you guys see all that system thinking coming to play. Thank you, Marie. And the next one is when people use a car sharing service instead of each person owning their own car. This is an interesting one. What do you think? Reduce. This is an interesting one. Refuse. I like that. Refuse. A lot of people are saying refuse. Yeah, I like that. It's not necessarily the answer. I don't know. Keep the answers. I see Crystal there. Hey, yo, less traffic. That's the answer, Crystal. You got it right. Katerina, the thing. Thank you. No, we actually should do that for less traffic, eh? But yeah, and the answer is redesign. Redesign, this one is also known as rethink. So the whole idea is to change how products or services are used so that it is used more efficiently. And it really speaks to Krista's answer of less traffic. I told you this was a tricky one.
Yeah, I want to, sorry, Katrina, you go.
Yeah, maybe just coming in here, of course, like if you have car sharing or like rental sharing models, there is a downside to it. With Airbnb, we actually see the downside in having more driving up prices in cities. And with the Uber as well, it does not necessarily actually decrease the traffic. So what traffic would really, I guess, benefit in having less traffic on the road is public, safe, and affordable transport that we need. So it's quite interesting looking at these sharing models. But what you could think of is if people, and I think in the African context that's more tricky, if there's actually you don't own a car and you go to a car like a sharing platform where in every street basically you have a few cars parked and you via a platform you can basically book them. So you have, I think in Munich they still have that BMW service where you can actually like just book the cars and then you just use it. But it's quite interesting to think about these examples because some of them, and we mentioned them as well as case studies, it's like a sharing model. But is the actual impact a decrease of traffic and a decrease of usage of cars? So I think this is something interesting and fun to think about as well. Sorry, Marie, over to you.
Yeah, and I also just wanted to say this question is a tricky one because when people are car sharing service, you are actually refusing, you are actually saying, I'm not getting into a car, I'm not buying a car. So I think this question is tricky because the actual app and the technology helps us with redesigning the system. So I think it is a tricky one, and I can understand why people said refuse instead of redesign.
Look, that we put that in by design just to get people talking, just to get people thinking. Wanted to test those brains. And then we're moving right to the next one because of time. Then it says here, when a company collects glass bottles, wash them, refills them with the same drink. Same drink. You think this one is? There's an answer there. There's a popular one. There we go. I think this one, everybody knows this one. And the answer is here, Katerina. There we go. Everyone that said reuse, you got bragging rights. You can go and tell everybody that you got this one right. The next one, um, when a restaurant removes plastic straws completely instead of offering them on request, then you. There we go. Beautiful. I see the answers. Everyone has the same idea. That is beautiful. Yeah, the answer for this one is definitely refuse. As you can see, everyone is it's clear because you're refusing to get into that. So I'll move on. When a manufacturer uses less materials and energy to make the same product, then they are. And look, there's only a few left now, so I'm sure it'll be easier. Yes, I see them, see those answers putting in. Somebody said repurpose there with repurpose, redesign. Redesign has already been used. Right. Now then, let's get the answer to this one. It is reduce, because you're reducing the energy of making a product. And then there's two more. So there's two more to go. So let's go. And when when old shipping containers are converted into housing or offices, then so it's either you're refurbishing or you're repurposing. What do you guys think this is? See a lot of repurposes. I see a lot of repurposes. And the answer is, okay, yes, and it's very right. Whoever said repurpose, you are very right, because this is using a product or material for a different function than originally intended. I see someone was excited there. Well done. You should be proud of yourself. Then the last one is when a business collects used office chairs, replace the fabric, clean them, and resell them. Then they are. That's a no-brainer. It's a refurbish. So everyone writing refurbish, well done. And well done, man, for being for taking part in this interactive session. I love it. I love all the responses. And if you got an answer wrong, now you know why you need to get this course. So, but well done to everyone. I really appreciate your participation there. And wait, before I go, now that you learned about the R strategy, I just want to share one of the 40 case studies that we actually have on the course. And this really speaks on repair and maintaining. And this is one that we all know. Well, I use it a lot when I'm lazy to wash my own shoes. Sneaker Shack, they're a South African company that actually refurbish shoes or tackies, and they have the services of keeping materials at their highest value, and that's the circular economy principle element that they use. And here at Sneaker Shack, they do more than just, because before we would use them as washing shoes or whatever, but what they do, they take the shoe to where it was before, so they can actually fix the shoe. They refurbish it from fixing your soles, from stitching torn parts of your shoe. So when you get your shoe back, it's actually like a brand new shoe. So this is a great example of how they can extend a product's life extension. So yeah, so in the course, you will catch other case studies like this, which will also share a little bit more about South African circular businesses and how they are playing a role in the circular economy, and also how they're making money using circular economy principles and business models. Right, over to you, Maria.
Thanks, Mark. I think just one thing on the Sneaker Shack, why I also love them, is they actually come and pick up your shoes at your house and they come drop it off again. So they make it very easy for the consumer to maintain their shoes. Just a side note.
Oh, that is very fruitful, Maria. I didn't know that. I always drop them off myself and will fetch them.
Okay, and that brings us to the course overview, why you are all here. The circular economy, building a just and regenerative future. Now, working with ASIN and CSA and various other companies, we've realized there's a need for a course that covers the foundations of the circular economy that's specifically tailored to South Africa. To make it more relatable, and this course also explores the environmental, economic, and social impacts of the circular transition, emphasizing equity, and inclusive job creation. Now, the key learning insights for this course, the circular principles in comparison with the linear economy, circular business models, which we explain with the case study so that you can relate to each. And then, as we've mentioned, systems thinking is interwoven into this course. Everything is connected, and in order to create solutions that work, we need to understand these interconnectedness. And then lastly, we'll have real-world South African case studies showing you the link between circular design and social environmental impact, and also making this course and all the circular concepts very relatable in a South African context.
Katharina, just stop sharing from the back.
Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, so the course learning objectives, by the end of this course, you'll be able to understand the environmental, social, and economic impacts and why South Africa urgently needs the circular transition. You'll be able to differentiate between linear and circular systems and describe fundamental principles. And as you saw now with the R ladder, you'll be able to understand each of those concepts. And again, each of those concepts are explained with the South African case study. You'll be able to apply systems thinking. You'll understand tools like Katerina mentioned. You'll be able to describe and evaluate circular business models and identify opportunities. You'll be able to identify circular opportunities in the key South African sectors. So for each sector, we look at the fundamental principles in each sector. And you'll also be able to not only look at your own sector, but see what other sectors are doing so that you can maybe find ideas and create innovative solutions. And then you'll be able to assess the drivers, the barriers, and the enablers influencing South Africa's transition. Okay, then we can go over into the key learning insights. I'm not going through everything here. We have discussed some of them in this webinar. So everything is connected and systems thinking is essential. I think we say this 105 times in the course as well. Then waste is not inevitable. It's a design flaw. And value is unlocked by keeping materials and products at the highest value for as long as possible. Next slide, thank you. So circular opportunities differ across industries, but as mentioned, everything is connected. There's cross-sector collaboration, and learning is crucial for a circular transition. Apart from collaboration, South Africa's transition depends on policy support and inclusion, very important. The circular transition is a process of continuous improvement. I also want to put a lot of attention onto this, because we don't want to make you feel that you have to change everything as soon as possible, because then nothing happens. So I think the best is to start small and then change as you go, learn, and build as you go along. Okay, next one. Okay, so now who is this course for? This course can be used by various stakeholders to understand the fundamentals of the circular economy as applied in South Africa. So students and graduates, professionals, employees, innovators, international stakeholders, and aspiring change makers. I see in this session today, there's environmental scientists, consultants, entrepreneurs, data capturers, economists, PhD graduates, all representing different companies like Green Cape, Vitola, the Food Lost and Waste Initiative, the Green Youth Network, and various other companies and initiatives. And we're so glad to have you here. So this course is a foundation, and we urge you to further your learning into topics that apply specifically to your business, work, or studies, but this will really give you a good foundation to build on. And then, next slide. Then what does this course entail? Okay, So we've worked very, very hard to give you 4.5 hours of video content. Yeah, it's a lot of work. There will be 40 South African case studies. There's also detailed infographics on the application of the 4 principles in the key sectors in South Africa. There's guest interviews, and thank you again for Prof. Linda Godfrey from CSIR and Grant Prince from Patola for giving your time. And then there will also be a working dictionary, which we will update as we go. And as you know, like we're still learning in the circular economy, so as we get new information, we'll change things and we'll update the dictionary. There will be a course certificate on completion, but you'll have to get your quizzes right, so we won't just give it to you. And then there will be a CSA short course. We will still let you know when that will happen. If you have additional questions for additional discussions, etc. Okay, and that brings us to the next slide. Thank you, Katrina. So I think what you've all been asking for is the pricing. I think before I go into the pricing, I think this is really, there's a lot of information, and we've really built something really amazing. And I think this will really enhance your circular knowledge and help you, build your circular business, or help you advance your career or your initiative. So the regular price is 1,495. If you are a CSA member, then you get it for 995. The thing is, so being a CSA member is free, so it will cost you nothing to get a 500 Rand off. And then because you all have been here and you've seen Mark, they are getting something. They're getting a big discount for attending the webinar. They'll pay 795. And then also, if there are any teams or companies that would want to register, like a group of people, then please contact us at CSA and we will make that happen for you, and we'll create a discount for you. And then I think the question on all your lips is, Katrina, next slide, thank you. When the course will launch? It will launch 19th of March, next week. And yeah, we really hope to see all of you there and to take your step towards a more regenerative future for South Africa. I think this is very exciting, and it's the first kind of this course in South Africa. This doesn't exist yet. So yeah, please join us, and yeah, we're excited to have you. Okay, and then finally, if you have any questions, you can ask us in the chat now. You can get in touch, email us at info@circular-south-africa. And please, I'm sure all of you are following us, but if you're not, please go and follow us for updates. And yeah, any questions?
Marie, I think there was one question around. How will you verify that we are webinar attendees? Don't worry, guys. MS Teams luckily logs your attendance. Yes, we have a list of registration, but we do have a list of people that now participated. And then there was also the question, is there a brochure available I can share for approval internally? So that's something maybe we can do, like a one-pager. I mean, we can obviously share the presentation as well. But if that is of interest, just also email the info@circular-south-africa email address, and then we can share that as well.
There's also one saying, how will delivery happen? Is it self-study?
Yes, okay, so it is a self-study course. It's an online course. You will go onto our website and you will click courses and you will go into the course. You will have lifetime access. So you can access the course anytime you want. Also, you won't have to follow you won't have to watch everything to get to a next session. Like we're opening the course. If you, for example, want to jump to section 6 to your industry, like for example mining, then you can go there. Or if you want to jump to the R ladder that we discussed today, you can go there and just watch those videos. And you can also you can also speed it up to 1.5 or 2 if you feel like we are talking too slowly.
And there was a question around how long does it take? I mean, the video content is 4 hours long. If you really want to immerse yourself, I would assume you study another at least 4 hours. So it's quite a lot of things that it's quite dense. To be honest, our intention was to actually make it much shorter, but when we started to work on it, it became a little bit bigger. But I think it's a little bit up to you. As Marie said, you can obviously also, make us talk much quicker if you want to, but it's a bit about how much you want to engage with the content as well. So I would say at least 6 hours, at least. That would be my thumbs up basically on the course.
Yeah, I think so, Katrina. And I think certification, good idea for CPD. And but Katrina, if you want to take that question.
Yeah, that's something that we're going to look into, I think, in the future. So Buchle, it's a very valid point, and I think that would definitely make our offering even better. But at the moment, it's just getting this course together was our prime aim. And then once we also get feedback, so the participants that are going through the course, and we hope also to actually receive feedback from you guys so that we can improve the course as we go along, and then hopefully also get the CPD points. I think that would be quite valuable, which we did for the ASIN manufacturing course as well. We just need to,
Yeah, I think also just something we really wanted to get this to the market as soon as possible as well. And those type of things do delay. But it's definitely something we're looking into. And with registration, we will, like I said, it will be on the website, but we will, for everyone that's here and everyone that registered, we will send out an email for easy access to the course.
And then there was another question around, course start. Is the launch date the same as the course date? So maybe because it's self-taught, and we're launching it next week, but I mean, you can also start with it, in 3 weeks' time when it suits you. I hope.
But I also think they're answering that according to the discount. People want to know if they're still eligible for the discount when the course launches.
Yeah, so the course will launch next week, Thursday. So you will be able to buy it next week, Thursday, and use your discount. And then you will be able to use your discount for a week. So that will then be, let me just check so you will be able to use it until the 26th. And then after that, you won't be able to use your discount anymore, but you can just buy the course and then you can do the course in 6 months if you want to, because then it will be yours. The content will be yours.
Okay, let me check if there are more questions. I'm just also trying to answer here.
But there is a long one there from Tubby. So.
Oh, where can we access the course? So we are, and this is why we have worked so hard on this, we are going to integrate it into the Circular South Africa website. So once we launch it, you're going to be actually accessing the course through the website itself.
Yeah. So there is a question here from Tubby. So that's from the Free State. He says, is there no physical training as we are operating in a compost manufacturing facility? So he's more looking at physical training.
So I think what I hear out of this question, Tabiso, is actually proper training on composting. Please reach out to us. We can connect you to the right stakeholders that have very in-depth composting knowledge. So please reach out, and I think they will be able to help you with that. We have previously offered master classes with the University of Johannesburg, but it was more also in a classroom setting, so not in a field trip. We have done some field trips previously as well, but just connect to us and then we can connect you to the right stakeholders around composting.
Yeah, and I think Tabiso, in terms of that, that is why this course is a very good foundation, so that everyone understands what the circular economy is about, and then you can go into your specific industry. Sorry, now I forgot what it was. Into composting. Like, you understand that you get from this, you get the understanding of the circular economy, and then you focus on the composting.
Yeah. And then I think there's lots of question on the CBD points. So I'm just also noting down, because obviously people want to do the CBD points to the right professional body so that they can claim the points as well. So I'm just making some notes there as well. I'm sure we could maybe register it with multiple bodies. Okay, any other questions?
Here's a question there from Esty. Have you chatted to the SAIIE at all?
So I think this is something that we are planning later on to maybe present at a few of the conferences if it's of interest, but also please reach out to us and let us know, because we also are not connected with everyone, obviously. So we are sometimes also missing out on stakeholders that we might have overlooked. So please just reach out and give us a nudge as well, and then we can engage. Will you develop more courses? So I think what we're going to do is let's get this started, and let's see if you guys are also happy with the course. But I mean, the bigger idea also from an ASIN perspective is to develop one that is more focusing on Africa as a total course, to look at the policies, mechanisms, and how far countries are along, and that obviously that landscape is changing quite rapidly. But then it would also be great, again, to hear from the different people out here what specific courses you would want us to develop again. So I think this all depends a little bit of how this course is going, and where people actually see a really big need, and then how we're going to deliver that training as well.
Yes, and Marie mentioned earlier that we're looking at having a course workshop later on in the year, and I think that would be a great platform for us to see if there is another course that we can create and what is needed out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember we did a really nice masterclass during the Hotspots event, which a few experts delivered on the circular economy tools that was much more focused on material flow assessments and LCAs. Perfect. Thank you so much for everyone to join today. If there are any other questions, please reach out to us. Oh, Gabby, come in, please.
Yes, Gabby.
Hi, everybody. Just for some clarity, you will all be receiving an email after this webinar with next steps, with timeframes and timelines, and you can respond to that if you have any other questions. We'll be more than happy to help you.
There we go. Thank you so much for that, Gabby.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We look forward to meeting you guys on that course. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to see.